At the Crosse County Historical Society, our mission is to discover, collect, preserve, and I think most fun, share the history of La Crosse County. And our broader mission is to strengthen a sense of community and foster civic engagement by exploring the shared heritage that connects the Driftless region. Tonight, we're privileged to present to you someone whose story is deeply intertwined with that of La Crosse. Lia Coryell is not just a Paralympian and world-class athlete, she is someone who has been overcoming barriers since her childhood here in the city. When Lia recently reached out to us and asked if we'd be interested in adding to our collection memorabilia from her time competing in archery at the Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro and Tokyo, as well as the World Champions in Dubai, we jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, it did.
Very quickly, though, we realized that these objects tell powerful stories. Though these objects tell powerful stories, hearing about them and the life story that led to achieving them from Lia herself would make for an inspiring and enlightening evening for our community. And we're so grateful that Lia agreed. I also want to take a moment to thank the wonderful folks at the Crosse Public Library for lending this beautiful space to us and for helping us promote this event. I also want to thank the local press corps for covering this. Lia had a full afternoon of interviews, and she did such a wonderful job. And finally, I want to thank Amy Vach, who serves as our curator here at the Crosse County Historical Society. If you'd like to learn more about how you can add to La Crosse's history by partnering with us, we encourage you to visit lchs.org. With that, it is my sincere honor to present.
A little bit of feedback.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, with that.
Ooh.
Do you not want to use it?
All right, Lisa, you all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Lia Coryell. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you.
You want to go micro?
No, you can. How did you turn on? Is it still gonna whistle?
I don't know.
I'd rather have legs.
Ready?
If you got an extra
Ready?
set of those. You said give me a hand. I want legs. Yeah. Why is it doing that?
I have no idea. I'm not
Can I just yell? This is amazing. But the thing I want to tell you is this isn't my accomplishment. This is our accomplishment. This only happened because I moved back to La Crosse, and the La Crosse community and my family has supported me from day one. This is for us. This is not about me. And I'm going to give you a little story here about how I got started here in La Crosse and why this belongs to every person and how we as a community create history every day. It's just not old people and centuries old stuff and stuff that smells. It is not. We create history every day by the choices and the decisions we make to help in our community, and you never know. So I did write it down because it's late and I might get a little bit. So I learned about determination, mindset, rebellion, and building resilience as a child who grew up in an unstable household, living deep in poverty in this community. We moved here when I was 5. While training and competing on the national and international stage, I often thought about the little girl that I was, always looking in from the outside, always being the leftover kids, leftover from another father, another family, another school, another homeroom. I wanted to make her proud of who she was and how far she's come. I wanted her to know she mattered. I attended Washburn, Hogan, Harry Spence, and Franklin grade schools. I attended Logan Junior High and Lincoln Junior High. I attended La Crosse Central High School and Logan High School and Central High School. By the time I graduated from high school and left for the military, I had lived in over 15 homes in La Crosse. I don't believe we were ever bullied by our peers. There are lots of kids who struggle with poverty in this community. However, the amount of shaming from adults in our lives and our community was seriously traumatizing. They openly shamed my mother in front of the siblings and I, and shamed us for things that we had zero control over. In kindergarten, I was at Washburn, and it was the end of the semester. I remember this clearly, and I still did not know what my name looked like, Lisa. and I didn't know how to write it. So the aide in the classroom said, Lisa, I'm going to help you in just a minute. And Mrs. Fluke's dad looked at her and said, it's not worth it. It's a waste of time. Don't even worry about it. I know her. Her kind is what she said. I knew that day, at the age of 5, I was going to grow up and know everything, because my mom didn't have the capacity or the means to learn things, to find the answers to things to help our life. I was going to know everything. I have a degree in research and information science, a master's degree. I have several degrees. Do I use them? No. But if you want to know what's hanging in the China embassy, I can tell you. Because I fulfilled a promise to that little girl who felt like she never fit in. In first grade, and I don't know if my siblings remember this, and I think it was at Hogan Elementary School. I don't know if you all knew this. If you got free lunch, you stood in a different line facing the wall, like this. And the kids that paid for lunch got to go first. And whatever was left over, we got. That was in 1971. Leftovers. We were leftovers. In grade school, and I think it was at Franklin Grade School, they put in a new gym floor. And if you, no, it was Harry Spence. If you didn't have tennis shoes, you didn't get to go to gym class. And because we got our shoes from the Salvation Army every year, the boys had the little brown boots, and my sister and I had saddle shoes. We sat with our nose against the wall the entire year because we couldn't afford tennis shoes. The teachers. I directly remember my 6th grade teacher saying, for Christ's sake, your mom can buy cigarettes, but she can't buy soap. You stink, in front of the class. You know, shamed for dirty clothes, poor attendance, academic struggles. When you have children and you don't have the means to just come up with money, we didn't have a washer and dryer. So growing up, we had, and I'm talking about before my mom married my stepdad, Laverne. My biological dad was not a good guy. He was in and out of jail most of our childhood. We had a dresser with 4 drawers in it, you know, like this high. Every piece of our clothing fit in one drawer. So Michelle, Lisa, Rick, Gary, everything we owned. When I moved out of my mom's home, I had 2 cardboard boxes, even though we were working. So we, you know, we started working, 13, 14, every one of us started working. All 8 of us started working by the time we were 13 and 14. But material things, if you don't grow up with them, I don't think you crave them. I think what you crave is stability and things other than if you're wearing Levi's or not. But also, there were people in the community that absolutely 100% turned my life around. Mrs. McPhee was my 4th grade teacher at Harry Spence. She's the first person that told me, you are smart, you are brave, and you can be anything that you want to be. Every day she would tell me that. There was a librarian at Franklin Elementary School. I was behind on reading, and she said, why don't you come in and help me shelve books in the library over your lunch hour? I can't read. But the books that she would put on the shelving thing were ones that I wanted. I went from reading below grade level to reading on an 11th grade level in 1 year, because that librarian took the time to make me see I was worth her time and her effort, and gave me a skill. Not, you know, did it for me. She taught me skills that I needed to succeed. There was a gym teacher, and his name was Chikanovich. Yes, him. He was our gym teacher in grade school. He was awesome. He was a young guy, football player. He was very good to my family. And when I moved back here in 2015, guess who one of the first person at an adaptive sports thing that I went to was Mr. C, Tony Krasanovich. I'm like, boy, is that not full circle? He is a part of the outdoor squirrel people, but I can't remember what that's called. Yeah, them. I also had a 7th grade science teacher named Mr. Greg Gerlach, and he was tough on me. He's like, you're not stupid, you're lazy. You are very smart, but you don't do your work. because you're not dedicated. You could be anything you want to. Stop being lazy. Start taking this seriously. You're 12 years old. So when I moved back, I drive a modified vehicle, a modified van with hand controls and everything. Guess who owns Midwest Off-Road? Mr. Greg Gerlach. I rolled in and he's like, oh, hell no. He's like, what'd you do? Yeah, he and his crew, amazing people, so good to me to keep my cars running, because when you travel around the United States, when you have to shoot in national tournaments, you don't get paid for that. You have to pay for that. You, especially as a para-athlete, you're paying to be on the Paralympic team. There is no money in it. There is no sponsors, at least in archery. So I had to drive all around the United States, and they kept my car running. But talk about full circle and about community stepping up. There was also, I don't know if you remember, if you were from La Crosse, Miss Marcos at Central High School. She was a literature teacher. They owned the Pants Place, that kind of Marcos.
Downtown?
Yes, yes, the Marcos Place. She told me, you can go to college. I'm like, no, I can't. Yes, you can. You can go. You are smart enough that you can go to college. You just need to figure, if you need help with that, figure it out. She's the first person that even planted that in my head. The police officers that would come to our house when I was very young, every weekend, when there were guns and knives and violence, they were my heroes. They came and they never judged my mom and us. Never. But in the 70s, when there was domestic violence, if the person, in my case the woman, didn't pursue charges, he was back the next day. But those police officers never didn't come. They always came. So when I enlisted in the United States Army, I enlisted as an MP. I didn't get to be one, but I did enlist as one. I ended up being a truck driver. But the fact that they showed up, and they were men and they were my heroes, had a profound impact on me. The other one was the Salvation Army. They were a huge part of our early childhood. We would sleep there. We got our school clothes there. We would shower there. We would do our laundry there. They were a huge part of us, and they're still big in this community. The other one was Toys for Tots. When we were kids, way back in the 70s, Toys for Tots was used kids, or used toys that were donated. And they went to the Naval Reserve with Bob. Yeah, the Naval Reserve on, I don't know what street that's on, Weston Street or Green Bay Street, yeah. And my mom would go and do our Christmas shopping with the donated toys at Toys, but it didn't matter because it was new to us. So there were community people that stepped up, but there were also the people that shamed. So when I grew up, I knew that somehow I was going to show other poor kids like me and my siblings that they weren't a waste of time, nor were they unworthy. My mother firmly believed that if you know someone who's struggling and you do have a way to help them and you don't, you're the problem. You are the problem. If you have the means to help somebody else and you don't, you stay in your lane, then you're the bigger problem. I completely believe that. Every one of my siblings, and I've got a lot of them, 7, I don't know if they're all here, but yes, every one of us has committed to that. My brother Rick was driving and there was a car accident. He pulled a woman out of a burning car. Every single one of us joined the military, something to help somebody else. So even when you feel like you have nothing, you always have something. And that something is validation of somebody else's worth. So my mom was smarter than they gave her credit for. I was the first person in my family to graduate from high school. First woman to get a driver's license. My mom did not have a driver's license. To get college degrees and to join the military. I knew that for me, knowledge and education was power. I made it my life's mission to never allow another child to feel shamed for things beyond their control in my presence. I became a successful rebel. That's my term, successful rebel. Because you can't be a rebel unless you're successful, because if you're not successful, you're not a very good rebel. See? Successful rebel. I became an educator, an advocate, and a leader. People tell me all the time that I'm an inspiration, but I'm not. I have always been driven by that little girl inside me who wanted to not be ashamed of who she was or where she came from. I just wanted my life to count for something, to prove I was worthy. I had to rebel against what some believe possible for kids who started life left behind. Rebellion. That's what I am. I'm not resilient. I'm rebellion. Tell me I can't. Tell me I shouldn't. Tell me I won't. If you harness that in a very positive way, that's what drove me. Not necessarily the end result. This wasn't about me winning medals. This was me reaching out to kids like me and like my siblings in this community. To do that, I had to take accountability for my life story by the decisions I make. All of us do that. I don't know that all of you know that you're writing history every single day by the decisions you make because it affects other people. So not only does it affect your history, but their history. And in the community, just think of how that goes around. I don't think enough people realize that you, by the choices you make, you're creating history. This is how we make and change history. People say I'm resilient, and maybe I am now, but I got that way by becoming a successful rebel, which created resiliency. After graduating from college, I moved to Milwaukee for 28 years. I got married there, I raised my 2 kids there, and I battled the most profound effects of MS, the start of my MS, there. The first year I was in my chair, I was robbed in the parking lot of the Milwaukee VA. Some punk followed me from the pharmacy, saw a woman in a wheelchair, probably had some good drugs, beat the crap out of me, and took my pharmacy bag. I hope he liked his vitamin D and eye drops, because that's all that was in there. But it was scary, and it was the first time I think that I felt very vulnerable. Joey enlisted in the military. He was a combat medic with the 101st Airborne, and he was getting ready to deploy to Afghanistan. And he said, "Mom, I need you to move home. I need you to move back to La Crosse so that when I'm in Afghanistan, I can keep my head in the game and bring my guys home and not have to worry about you." Best advice ever. So I moved back after 28 years in 2015. When I was in Milwaukee, I worked at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and my job was to work with the student veterans who, post 9/11, so the kids like Joe that came back from war and wanted to go to college and weren't quite ready to be in the classroom. So that was my job. I was asked to be on this veteran advisory board. I'm like, I'm a baby vet, literally. I'm the world's oldest private. You know, I was not even 2 years in the military before I was medically retired. I'm sure you can find a real vet on this campus because there's a lot of them. No, we want you. So the first board meeting we go to, they're talking about money and veterans, and I'm like, okay, so how much money do you make every semester on student veteran GI bills? Because that's guaranteed money. Over $1 million. I made them tell me they weren't going to. Over $1 million. I said, okay, so what's the graduation rate? 2%. 2%. And they get $1 million. I'm like, oh, heck no, no, no. So I created a student veteran resource center on the campus of UW-Milwaukee that then just spread. There's one at every UW school in the state of Wisconsin. Because I became a voice for somebody else. That's history changing, because those kids then had a better chance of getting their degree and changing the outcome of their life history and their children's history. But with these guys, some of them were in chairs or missing body parts or, you know, veteran kind of stuff. And I wanted to get them involved in adaptive sports so they weren't just drinking. But they wouldn't go to the adaptive sports camp in California unless I went. So where Mama Duck goes, the baby ducks follow. So we went to California to this adaptive sports camp. I was almost 240 pounds, 46 years old, and I was not an athlete. And I was very new to my chair. I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. They're like, how about wheelchair basketball? I'm like, how about not? How about not? How about wheelchair tennis? Not. Well, they had archery. And you sit like this. Okay, I can do that. So I went and did the archery. I have never shot a bow standing up, other than just playing with my brother's bows when they were little. But I've never shot a bow standing up. And they're like, oh, you're really good at this. And then they started to invite me to DOD, Department of Defense, and Wounded Warriors, and all these little archery camps. I'm like, I'm good. Look at me go. So they said, I think it's time for you to start to compete. But you have to get classified. So when you're a para-athlete, they look at your medical records, and they look at what your function is, and they put you in a class, so you're only competing, theoretically, with people like you. So I said, okay, so what do you think I'm gonna be? And they're like, you're gonna be a W1, which is a quad. I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And they're like, it means that you're the lowest functioning. So they didn't recruit me because I was a good athlete, and they didn't recruit me because I was a good archer. They recruited me because I was so impaired. And I almost didn't do this. I said, I am not your token broken. No, I am not that. I'm not your photo op. But my coach, Randy Smith, said, wait, I need to tell you something. There has never been a female W1 competitive archer in the Western Hemisphere. From the top of Canada all the way to the bottom of South America. None. The reason being because people have convinced them that it can't be done by a woman, because it's hard to shoot a bow when your arms and your legs and your core is impaired. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I will do this to show that it can be done. Hang on, I gotta catch up. What I want to tell you is this is not just my story to tell. This is a story about a community that came together to help one of their own change the world. This is our story. This is the La Crosse community's story. This isn't about me. This is about all, look at this room. Look at all of these people in this room. This is about you. This isn't about me, because I couldn't have done that without the backing that I had. La Crosse Archery, and I know it's not La Crosse Archery anymore, but it was La Crosse Archery when I was here. Oh my gosh, not just the people that worked there, but the people, you know, the archers in the whole Cooley region embraced me. I did not have that in Milwaukee. When I was in Milwaukee, I went to the archery shop. They wouldn't even wait on me. They ignored me. Again, left out. They wouldn't even wait on me. But not when I came here. They made my arrows. They worked on my bow. The older guys would watch with binoculars, because it's a glass thing, when I was shooting, and they'd knock on the glass, little left, Leah. So helpful. But I never could have done the equipment part of that, and even just the boost without my people from La Crosse Archery. Also, Fort McCoy MWR, which is Morale, Recreation, or whatever. So they have a campground at Fort McCoy, and they have a gun range. And I thought, I don't know who else to ask. I needed a range that had sidewalk or hardness, 50 meters, that I could roll back and forth to my target. So I said, do you have somewhere where I can do this? I guess I could take it down. No. They set a target up at Fort McCoy on their pistol range, because they only used it on the weekend, for 7 years. 7 years, from mid-spring to the end of fall, I was out at Fort McCoy 4 or 5 days a week, shooting my bow, rolling down and getting my arrows, and coming back. Fort McCoy did that, and they didn't get a penny. They didn't even get recognition. But I never would have been able to do this unless I learned how to shoot that. You shoot enough arrows, eventually they go where you want them. So it's important to shoot a lot of arrows. The Toma VA. When I came back from Rio, I spent 6 weeks with a bad relapse in the Toma VA rehab department. Amazing people at the Toma VA have helped me through all of it. If I needed a different chair, if I needed bracing, I've spent not just then, but weeks inpatient at the Toma VA, and I had never had better care. So I don't care what people say, oh, the VA. No, amazing. Also, the La Crosse VA clinic. You know, do you have your inoculations? Do you need an inhaler? You know, where are you traveling next? Amazing, that kind of support. Midwest Off-Road. They were my people to keep me running to get to where I needed to go. Everything from graphics to fixing the car to checking on things to make sure I was going to be safe while I was traveling. And I had 2 young people for years that came to my house once a week to do whatever I needed. And that was my niece Emma and her husband Jordan. They would take me grocery shopping. They would shovel if I needed it shoveled. We would go to dinner. We would go to Target every week. And I never paid them a cent. They would show up at my house to help me. That was an immense help that people don't realize, even just showing up. You know, getting something off a top shelf that I can't reach. It wasn't me that put it up there, to be honest, because obviously I can't reach it. Somebody put it up there. But they would come. They were there when I needed them. All of my family stepped up. I didn't achieve these accomplishments on my own. The only reason I found success is because I was supported by my community, this community. And this is how this community made world history. I was the first competitive W1 woman in the Western Hemisphere. For the first 3 years, I competed with men and won. I am the first American W1 woman to make the national team 7 years, Paralympic team twice, and 4 world championship teams. I made it to the bronze medal matches and came in 4th in both Paralympic games I attended. I was the first American woman to compete in 3 Pan American Games, and I won all 3. First American female W1 to win a world championship. I have multiple world, Pan American, and national records. I was ranked #1 in the world for 16 months. I found out that coaching archery, there are levels starting at 1 that go to 5. I wanted to know why there were no coaches in wheelchairs that were coaching, not just pairs anyway. Why can't you coach if you're in a wheelchair? Why can't you take this class? Well, if you can't shoot a recurve, you can't be a coach. I said, I'm pretty sure Simone Biles' coach can't do what she does. Pretty sure that Michael Phelps' coach can't swim like he does. No, I will not take that for an answer. I became the first one in the world. Do I want to coach in the world? No. But I needed to prove to other people in wheelchairs that they can be excellent coaches, whether they be able-bodied or not. The United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee Board of Directors. I was the first para-athlete elected to that board as a representative by able-bodied athletes in any sport, anywhere in the world. When I finished competing in Tokyo, the executive director of the USOPC said, this is changing history. Because people see a wheelchair and they think, oh, you stay in that lane and you stay in that lane. Not these athletes, not these archers. We want her to advocate. Not that I'm this great advocate, I'm just mouthy, you know, and I can do a bit of research. But the fact to take that barrier out when other people put it there, that's successful rebellion. Oh, I can't, can I? That's what I'm talking about. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have this. Now, the seriousness here. My time here on Earth is running out. We got a pretty rough diagnosis a couple weeks ago. And I have a request for the entire La Crosse and Coulee region community. I challenge each and every one of you to continue to support each other so that our children can grow up strong, confident, and resilient no matter what their socioeconomic status. We already have an incredible community support systems, the Salvation Army, the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Toys for Tots, the Star Center, and multitude of nonprofits. I need each of you adults in this room to make sure that nobody gets left behind. You all have the ability to help struggling families in some way, to change their life history, big or small, be a part of building the strong, resilient, successful rebels in this community. You never know who in this community is going to change the world. In fact, it might be who you least expect, like a tiny little girl that was stinky and dirty and not worth my teacher's time. I challenge you to do that, and we can do that because that's the way this community works. So, welcome to your prize.
Unless you want to put questions.
Do you guys have any questions? I also brought my gold medal. My World Championship gold medal is here. And if you want to hold it, you absolutely can hold it. It's not gold. I think it's brass. But if you would like to hold it, you certainly can, because this is yours. This is yours just as much as it is mine. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke. I truly mean it. And I've seen athletes from all over the United States that don't have this, and they're not the successful ones. So I am eternally grateful to the Cooley region for supporting me and making our dreams come true. So does anybody have any questions? I'm that good?
Leah,
Yes.
you said that when you shoot enough arrows, they go where you want them to?
Yeah.
How many arrows you gotta shoot before you get to that point?
A lot. A lot. But I do, speaking of shooting yours, Skip, keep shooting, keep shooting. So when you compete, you know, in USA Archery, you shoot 3 ends of practice, which is 6 arrows, and then you shoot 72 arrows in a row for score. So if you shot a 10, which has never happened in any situation, your score would be 720, right? My personal best score that I have ever shot is a 603. So when most of the tournaments I went to, so they take that 720 score and they, what is that called, Joe? Rank you? Like the person with the highest score is up here and the lowest score is down here. I was always in the bottom 3. And I learned from shooting at La Crosse Archery and at Fort McCoy, that's not my game. I'm older, I'm hot, I have MS. Shooting 72 arrows in a row is not where my strengths lie. My strengths lie in the elimination matches where you shoot 53 arrows 5 times, 15 arrows. That's where my strengths lie. So when I shot in Rio and went to the gold medal, or when I went to the bronze medal match, I was doing really good until I thought, I don't deserve to be, who do I think I am? That's called imposter syndrome, and it's a real thing. Like, why did I even think I should be here? I set a world record in Tokyo and still didn't medal because I shot it in an elimination match. I shot a 144, which is the high, it's been broken since, but that's the highest it had ever been. And I still didn't win a bronze medal match. So as my disease progressed, I realized the World Championship in Dubai was going to be it. I was either going to make it or break it. So I spent an entire summer shooting the hard way. If you shoot the easy way, you already know how to shoot the easy way or you would not be shooting. So shoot in the sun, shoot in the dark, shoot in the rain, shoot in the heat, and figure it out. So the most viral archery video in the world is me at the World Championships when I didn't know I won. If you look it up, Lia Coryell, I'm not proud of it, so I am not paying attention. I'm not telling myself, that little girl, I'm like, girl, we got this. Literally, that's what I'm saying to the little girl that's inside me. We got this, just shoot your arrows. What they don't tell you is there is a 40-foot jumbotron right behind your target. So you're looking at you, shooting you. And then they play this thing on the speaker that goes doo 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 doo. It's your heartbeat. They're playing this and you're trying to shoot. But because I practiced the hard stuff, just like life, I didn't even hear it. I didn't even know that. So I'm just shooting my arrows, and my coach said, "Oh my gosh, Lisa! Oh my God, I think you just won the World Championship." And I'm like, "No, I didn't. We have 3 more arrows." He's like, "No." I'm like, "Chill, dude. We have 3 more arrows." And he's like, "Okay." And he sits back down, and the head USA coach comes around, and he's like, "Leah, put the bow down. You are world champion." And I'm like, "Me? Me? I just won the world championship?" The person you least expect. So all the girls, the 14 girls that I eliminated, their scores were in the 630s and 640s. I had a 603. That was the best I'd ever done in my whole life. And I won the world championships because I believed in that little girl that we were good enough to be there. It was when I didn't believe that I was good enough to be there that I lost. You know, is that, you know, you can be bitter or you can be better. The choice is up to you how you look at it. Could I have kept going that way? No, now I look like a dummy. What is that? YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah. Yay, that's me. Actually, somebody in festival in Holman said, "Was that you?" Yeah, that was me. Yeah, so crazy, right? Crazy stuff, but you never know what you can do until you try. When you start believing in yourself and other people believe in you, that energy creates energy, and this community is clutch about doing that. Moving back here was the best thing that I did. Now I live in Tampa where I'm warm all year round, and I'm never stuck in my apartment because of the ice in the parking lot. And I'm warm all year round, and I can swim, and I'm warm all year round. So I'm not living in the La Crosse community right now. I live near my son in Tampa. But I think it's so special what we have here. And I hope this is history. This is history that you all created, not just me. I was just the vessel. You guys, this is what we did. You should come get your picture taken by it. I did this. I did that, and I did that. Seriously. This is what it's about, and I challenge you to continue doing that after I'm gone. Okay? Anybody else? Okay. Yes, honey? No, I can't. W1 women, we don't shoot a recurve because I don't have hand function, so I shot a compound bow, but it has a limit on how much. I think it's 45 pounds, right, Skip? 45 pounds, but it shoots like a recurve. So it's a recurve sight and no peep. So you know how many W1 women are in the Western Hemisphere now? 14! 14 women and girls that didn't think that it was possible for them to shoot. You know, that's history making for them in their lives. Especially from like the South American countries that are a little more poverty stricken, these girls are supporting their families. Yes, Rick?
You talk to any of those kids you used to shoot with? I know you used to shoot with that little girl all the time.
Addison, yes. Pardon me?
You talk to
I have not. So I want to tell you the story without giving away her name because I don't have her permission. But when I was at La Crosse Archery, actually I was a speaker for Veterans Day at the school. And her dad came up to me and he said, "Do you think you could teach my daughter to shoot a bow? She's 9, and she has a significant illness, and she's even stopped talking. She gets invited to everything, but she never gets to be the best at anything. Can you help her learn to shoot a bow?" So we all did, didn't we, guys? We all, Sunday afternoons were her day. So we'd all go in there, and she had everybody. Go, good job, good job, good job. And we taught her to shoot a bow and to shoot a bow well. But she still wasn't talking very much. And one day I came in and I didn't have my shoes tied. And she said, "Your shoe's not tied." I said, "I can't tie my shoes." "You can't?" "I can." So for the rest of that whole semester, I did not tie my shoes on Sundays. She also wanted to shoot balloons. I'm like, "I'm sorry, honey, I can't tie a balloon." "I can tie a balloon." So she tied balloons. She had her birthday party, killed it, beat every boy in the class. She just killed it. And then she never shot again because it wasn't about archery. She became student president in the school, in the high school. I can't think of what that's called.
Class president.
Class president and student activities. And she was the Children Miracle spokesperson, something she never refused to do before. She's in college now, driving. It wasn't about archery. It was about feeling supported and that she felt like she belonged, and it's something to boost her confidence because she always felt like she was on the outside looking in too, and we did that too. We did that too. And I think that's pretty amazing. Anybody else? Anybody want to?
I'd like to say something.
There's a gentleman right back there. Hold.
The other people you went against today, they were all wheelchairs?
The people that I competed directly against, yes, were quads like me. So they had impairments in their hands and their legs and their core. There is a young man that lives here in Onalaska, and his name is Lucas Harrow, And he began shooting archery because lacrosse archery, he was already friends with them, but he started working. He is now an internationally ranked archer, and he's even more impaired than I am. And he shoots. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Although I did shoot up a class in the Pan American Championships in 2017 because we didn't have enough women, and we still won. We still won. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. What's your question, Gare?
I just wanted to say that you're an inspiration to me.
Don't say that. I'm rebellious.
Still an inspiration.
Okay.
You need your shadow boxes.
Me? Well, actually, your daughter, Emma Jordan. Yes, they helped me do it. So people keep asking me what these are. So when a country, so remember this for LA 28. When a country hosts the Olympics, they put out currency that honors the sports in the Olympics and the Paralympics. So these, I think they're called crowns in Brazil. And there's different sports on there. And they always have a recurve archer. I don't think I've ever seen a compound one, but I had to sneak out of the stadium and get this off a street vendor because I couldn't find them on the Olympic Village. But that's what those are. And when I shot in Tokyo, these are Japanese yens, which is the same thing. It has different sports on it. But for the first time in Olympic history, and I'm talking from way back when it started, there's a seated archer in a wheelchair on a Japanese yen. So when it comes to America, you all have to get these commemorative coins because they really increase in value. Like, I think I paid $20 for this, and I'm not going to tell you how much it's worth because you might steal it. Yes?
Did you have sponsors?
No. Well, lacrosse archery was kind of my sponsor.
Not any, I don't know, corporate?
No. No. Huh? You can't like wear a sponsorship. Like, you can be sponsored, but not at the Paralympics because they have their own sponsors. But speaking of, so when I was in Rio, my friend Andre won the gold medal in men's compound. Brady Ellison, who is a able-bodied archer, also won the gold medal in archery. Brady Ellison, through the USOPC, got $40,000, and Andre got $7,000. I'm like, yeah, no. I'm like, I need to change this. How do I change it? And they're like, well, I guess you better run for the board of directors on USA Archery. Heck yeah. I got myself elected, and guess what? When we went to Tokyo, my friend Kevin won the gold medal, and Brady also won the gold medal, and they each got $40,000. Because of advocacy, because it matters. You know, Andre didn't get to the $40,000, but he said, I appreciate the thought. But again, people from the outside looking in and writing, and not like shaming, but like trying to make it even. And that only happens if we're willing to see people with an issue and we know we have the ability to help. Now, I've got a mouth for days. I can speak most of the time pretty well. That's all it was talking and advocating. That's all it was. And that's all it's going to take from you guys to continue doing that and making this community what it is. Anything else?
Yeah, just to make that story a little more, even more grand, can you tell us a little bit about how Kevin actually shot his bow? And then can you also tell the story about the little girl in Rio?
So can you see this? So if you look in this picture right here, when you come up, right there, there's a little girl right over my shoulder. And I could see her when I was looking forward like this, and she had a little sign that said, "Go USA, go USA." And I'm like, oh, that's cute. I didn't win, but thank you. Thank you for cheering for us. And when we got done, there was Secret Service. I don't know if you know this. Security is tight at these things. We were also a soft target because over 50% of Paralympic athletes are wounded military. So if you want to get at America, take out their heroes, right? Not that I'm a hero. I'm just a baby private, but other heroes. So the Secret Service guy was helping me off the field, and I said, can you go, St. Patrick's Church, Cub Scout group made little USA bracelets for me to take to Rio to give to people. I said, I would like to give that little girl a bracelet. And I said, can you take it to her? And he said, I'll do better, I'll bring him back here. So we went up to the stands and I'm waiting there, and next thing I look up, and there's a mom and a dad and 2 girls, and they're hysterically crying. Hysterical. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And we had to go get the cook, because nobody spoke Portuguese. They thought I was mad. They thought I was mad that she was holding up the sign. I'm like, no, I have bracelets. And I pulled them out, and I went to put it on her hand, and she had a birth defect. She didn't have a hand. I'm like, okay, no big deal. Put it on the other hand, gave her sister one, little hug, little pictures. 3 weeks after I got home, her uncle got a hold of me on Facebook, and he said, you have no idea what you've done. When you're a poor child with a disability in Brazil, you need to be invisible. Because you are a target, you are vulnerable. They need to disappear in the crowd. They cannot stand out because it's not safe for them. But you saw, out of all these people, you saw Maria, one little girl. Her life has completely changed because you saw her. I didn't know she didn't have a hand. That was just luck, you know? But he said, Maria was picked out of a crowd by an American para-archer. That's her entire life has changed. Her whole demeanor has changed. She's done hiding. She's done hiding. Again, that's playing it forward, right? Seeing somebody that could use a hand and doing it. Well, literally. Sorry, that was probably a little inappropriate, but it was funny. It was funny. So yeah. And then Kevin is a recurve archer, and he's you gotta help me remember. So he shoots a recurve.
He was not it was Kevin Polish, right?
No, Kevin Polish is a
That's-
compound.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes. But Kevin Mather is the recurve redheaded guy that looks like Carrot Top that won. Yeah, pretty amazing. And we actually had somebody in Paris, Jason Tabansky was my W1 partner, so he's my mixed team partner. And I didn't go to Paris because I had 2 strokes. And I was tired, to be honest. But he went, and he won a gold medal, too, also. So, you know, LA 2028 is here. And they're gonna put it on the TVs and stuff. So yeah, get your coins. For sure, you can go to a bank and get the currency coins. So, all right. If anybody wants to hold the medal, it's right here. Otherwise, I'm done talking.
Well, Leah, thank you so much. On behalf of the Crosse County Historical Society, we're so grateful that everyone came out tonight.
Yes.
And just so you know, these incredible items are going to be part of our permanent collection at the Historical Society. And we're just so excited to be able to share them with the community, and hopefully it'll inspire other folks
Yes.
in many different ways.
There-
That's the base of why you're doing it, is to inspire people.
Yes, there are people that have changed history, not just here, but around the world, that are from this community, but they don't think it's history. Actually, we thought we were going to give it to the library. Maybe the library wants it. I mean, who wants it? And then when I got a hold of you guys, they're like, yes, we'll take it. And I'm hoping that it inspires other people to realize how special this community is and what they've done as a successful rebel for the other people here. You actually have quite a few Olympic and Paralympic athletes in this region. A lot, probably 7 other than me.
Actually, we're already talking about maybe an exhibit, talking about some of those folks, maybe around 2028 when the Olympics are, and maybe sooner. So
That's a good idea.
folks, let's give Leah a big hand.